knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Or how I like to think about it, what, why, and then how. These three words are very important to believers, but they're three words that you hear thrown around interchangeably, and they shouldn't be. They have particular meanings, and the way that you use them are for a particular reason. So when you think about knowledge or being what, that's more so information. And if you think about it, information is readily available to anybody today. You can find out any type of information that you want to know. It's right at your fingertips. You can go on Google, you can go grab a book from the library, whatever. The information is available. However, whether or not that information is true or real or false is kind of up to you to be able to discern. And that's where the understanding comes in. See, understanding is the why. Why is this important? Or why is this true? Or why is this false? And then if it is, then what is the significance of that? What is the cause and effect? Why is this information so important? How am I comprehending this? How am I discerning this? And then the how, which I like to believe is the wisdom. Now, how do I apply this? I know it. I have the information. I understand the significance of it. I understand it. I have the why. But then how? How am I applying this to my life? How do I allow this information, this knowledge to be applicable to me so that I can continue to enhance my life, reach my goals, maximize my potential, this, that, and the other. So three words that are very important, but they get used interchangeably. But the Bible tells us in Proverbs 4 and 7 that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But in all that getting, get understanding. And that's really what I want to talk about today. I want us to talk about and explore why wisdom is so important, but then why do they follow up with wisdom with understanding, or follow up from wisdom with understanding? And then where is knowledge in this? Because if knowledge is information, if knowledge is this revelation, then why is knowledge not mentioned right here? Knowledge is still very important. However, within the church, we've gotten to a place where thinking knowledge is everything. And I'm guilty of this. I used to always think, man, knowledge is power. I think I heard that quote somewhere, but knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I would take that. And I was out here half-cocked because knowledge or information itself is powerful, but it's the application of that knowledge that makes it so powerful. But in order to apply that knowledge, you have to understand it more deeply and then be able to apply it. So knowledge is really the first step in understanding. You get information, then you dissect it. And then after you dissect it and understand it, now you can apply it. And I think that's where we're going wrong. We're not dissecting the information that we get, which is why we see the church being ran rapid with false doctrines. We see so many different types of beliefs being spread throughout the church. We constantly get sucked into religion and tradition, when in reality, if we had, well, we do have the knowledge of these things, but if we were better able to discern, comprehend, or understand these things and the cause and effect. So if this happened, if we did things this way, how does that affect the service? How does that affect us being led by the Spirit? How does that affect God being able to move? Like, if we understand that causation between the two, then we would better apply wisdom. We would better apply what we know and the understanding of what we know to get about the desired result, right? So let's examine these three. And again, Proverbs 4 and 7 is where I'm coming from. But I want to start with the knowledge. That's simple. It's the what, right? Knowledge is the awareness of something. It's acknowledging something. It's the information. So I know this. I know that this is this. But again, knowledge can be true. Knowledge can be false. But when it comes to the Bible, true knowledge comes through relationship, which is where we get revelation from. Because the more God reveals himself to you is based on the more you get to know him, the more you get to understand his word, the more time you spend with him. He starts to begin to reveal himself more to you. He starts to show you deeper things, show you more mysteries, things that are hidden. But with that knowledge, now comes the next step, or now comes the responsibility to seek that out and to discern it. So now that you have this information, you have this knowledge, what does it mean? Or why is it important? Because God can reveal something to you and it could be great knowledge, but if you don't know why it's significant, it really won't do you any good besides you knowing. So then there comes the understanding, the why. Why is this piece so critical? And this is The understanding is really the ability to comprehend. It's to be able to dissect, to discern this information, and really it's to get to the truth of the matter. Understanding is about getting to the truth behind the information and the knowledge, which is why it's used to discern. This is a more spiritually mature step. So even though wisdom is the application of something, you can be applying things that you don't know exist at all, like the law of gravity. You could throw something in the air and you know it's going to come back down because you have an awareness of the law of gravity. But 9 times out of 10, if you ask somebody to explain the law of gravity and where this pull comes from and why it's so significant and how it works within the different atoms and molecules, I actually don't really remember all of that myself. But if you ask the average person, explain to me the understanding of the law of gravity, they probably wouldn't be able to do it, right? No knock on them, but in that same way, you see a lot of people out here exercising principles, which is understanding of this knowledge, exercising these principles or applying this knowledge, but they don't have the understanding. They don't have the discernment. So they can apply something and know if I do this, this will happen. So they can get the causation of it, but they can't understand the significance of it. So understanding is very important. And it takes more mature people to even want the understanding, which is why in Proverbs it say, although wisdom is the principal thing, you still need to seek after understanding, because that is really what's going to catapult you and take you deeper and higher. Because once you have an understanding of something, now you can operate it more fully and you can operate it more just easily. So that brings me to now the wisdom, the how. I have this. How do I apply this? And this is the application of knowledge. This is the application of that understanding. This is really skillfully and technically using everything that you know to your advantage. This is what separates people who believe versus people who act. So you can believe and have faith, but if you're not acting on that faith and acting on those beliefs, sometimes that faith won't really profit you nothing, which is where we get the idea that faith without works is dead. Now, it's not saying that works as in the law, now you have to do this and do this because that's the only way that this will happen. No, you're acting or you're working the faith that you have, meaning I believe this and I know this, so now I'm going to live according to this knowledge, live according to this, the trust that I have that this is the reality. Again, it goes back to that understanding. When you have an understanding of something, you know, again, the truth of it. And once you understand and know the truth of something, it becomes easier for you to operate. So now it becomes easier for you to apply this. So you can become more witty. You can become more of an administrator because now you understand the intricate details of how things are working, so you can work them a little bit better. All right. So that's really the difference between knowing or knowledge, understanding or discernment, and then wisdom, which is that application, is being wise in what you do and how you do things. So what, why, how, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, 3 very important things in the church, 3 very important things that we need to take more time to consider and take more time to make sure that we're discerning these properly and using these properly, because information is valuable. But understanding the why behind that information makes it even that much more valuable and important. But then being able to take that information and take the understanding of that information, the discernment, and being able to apply it in different situations to enhance the outcome, I mean, that's even more powerful. And that separates those who are babes from those who are sons or children, or children or sons, and then from those who are fathers. So, you know, the babe may know something, but they don't understand it. Then the child may understand something and, you know, have the awareness of the knowledge and understand it a little bit, but then being able to discern or to apply, being able to apply and use that technically, skillfully, is where the fathers come in. We have not many fathers because that's the next step. That's where you take that knowledge, you grapple with that understanding, and then you apply it in the different areas of your life to get the desired outcome. So now you can see why in, I believe it's Hebrews 4:12, where it says that when you were to be teachers, you have to now be taught again the first oracles of God, those foundational things, those principal things, that wisdom, you need to now understand wisdom again, because when you were to be the teachers, now you need to be a student again, and you weren't exercising your spiritual senses, so now you can properly discern and you can properly apply, which is what separates, again, the babes from the sons from the fathers. All right, so I hope this was helpful. I feel like I'm talking in a circle, but this is something, again, that was placed on my heart that I wanted to share. The difference between knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But in all that you get, in all of the wisdom that you acquire, and everything that you have, and all that you may sacrifice to achieve this wisdom, get understanding. All right? Hope to see you in the next video. Peace.